Good morning, good morning. Great bounce off of our zone today at open. As you can see, we bounced right on it. It's also our London low, and we're now taking out our Asian high from on ES. Really great rotation all the way back up to highs here from our overnight. We took out the overnight low, we took out the overnight high. Both sides got screwed from the balance from Globex. Now watching to see how we hit our head on this node. Surely we see that low and that high. This is where our daily POC was, here up in this 56. Watching to see how we interact here as we rotate into yesterday's POC to value high. Got quite a node here. I would expect this to be short-term resistance as we push into this guy. And we're just gonna watch to see if sell side sits here or not, right? I would assume that we're gonna be doing something like this, short term, and then we can see if we are gonna rotate this node like this. That'd be my assumption, something like that. Just come back down to retest value. Value currently sitting here at this like 40 level. Shorter term pullback, if that's not going to come all the way down to 40, would be like 46, which is where the POC shift occurred overnight at Globex. So let's see what they do. But I'd expect either like a bounce here around this 46 area, and then a push into this upper node that we just rejected off of, or again, a rotation down to just retest our value edge this morning. Watch NQ here. This is our value high as well. Retesting now. Asia high taken. Pullback happening. Let's see what they do here. Dude, all my charts on Tradeify are super glitched. I noticed that 743.44 is a price outlier. I would say definitely always verify with another platform to make sure that that's accurate. And you see stuff like that, and if you're going to base your thesis off of trading view data, potentially. Good bounce on Russell so far at our half-life back. Hey, what's up, Adam? Congrats, man. You're gonna enjoy yes, quite a bit more than Russell, let me tell you. Well, we got our bounce where we wanted here on ES. Held our lows, but we're still holding Asia high as resistance right now. So we're just watching to see if this is going to double top here off of this bounce and fail, and then rotate further down for something like this, or if we're going to be able to hold, push. I think it'll be dependent if Russell can take out highs here. If Russell wants to keep going off of our bounce at our lows, great, right? Then ES can get some continuation as well. If it wants to oscillate, then we'll fail probably here and then continue to rotate down. NQ not in the same position yet, where you have to get above 350 really for this to compete with ES. Still just kind of lagging right now. Holding our 30-second opening range, which is great on NQ, but again, got to get over this 350 participant here, or we could pull back a bit further on NQ. So let's just wait to see if we're going to get a push up like this, or if this is going to fail and we need to come down here first. Again, it should be dependent on if Russell can break highs or if we're just going to oscillate. Nothing from me yet. Just a waiting game while we see what NQ wants to do. Our IB closes here soon. 7 minutes. Right now we've got like a lot of absorption here up into our highs on ES. So we just want to confirm, right, that we're going to actually be able to hold these highs. and push off of it. So far, we're looking okay. I'm not too worried about this tail this like node we're building out on ES, but I do want to be aware of it because this is what we're seeing. So we're holding where we want to. This looks good, but we want to be cautious because we do see a lot of effort being exerted, like we talked about. This is ES. So we can see off of our delta profile, a lot of effort being exerted up here, a lot of size being traded. We're holding where we need to right now, but if this starts to fail and we push below, I don't know, 48s, that's when things can start to get a bit gross if we lose this LVN that we've created here. So just really watching to see what we're going to do. You can see Russell rejected that high, rotating down. Maybe we get our bounce here and that allows us to pop. I don't know. We just got to wait and see what we're going to do here. NQ trying at this node as well. But I just want to see a bit more from buyers. So far, again, they're just kind of getting taken in. A lot of absorption so far on ES specifically. Yeah, big pivot here. See if Russell can bounce again into these lows. Maybe that'll help. Problem is like everything's basically like RTY double topped. So if we don't see like a higher low here, that could be an issue. ES leading, NQ flat. 3 minutes until new 15s. Russell pushing down, a bit worried about this. Potential double bottom here, just like we double topped, but I'm thinking we might need a VWAP, to be honest. We'll see. NQ, this is a big test here into 90. If we offer 90s, we could have one more leg down to 250 potentially. Watching to see how we hit our heads on this node. This is that secondary move off of the failure to sustain above VWAP here. So far, we're just seeing buyers take in into this 15-minute VWAP. Right, we're just seeing this guy getting absorbed here. No ability yet to push on ES. We're trying again. Like there's a lot of effort being exuded here, but we have a mixed market with NQ flat and Russell pushing down. So until Russell finds that low and can actually get this sustainable pop, what's going to be the thing that actually moves ES to the upside if NQ is not being able to do anything and RTY is falling, right? Like use your brain. That doesn't really make sense. So we have to be very careful here because if ES can't do anything over this, 52, 54 area, we're just going to continue to take in here and it's going to continue to fail. We need to see lows start to step in here or things could get a bit rough. Yeah. I don't really see what they do. Absorption holding so far. Again, 250, 240 here is your target on NQ as we push down. Russell, first target here is in this 52, and then full target would be VWAP if this actually breaks down. Big absorption like we talked about on ES into those highs. Sellers really trying to take advantage of this. This is your 250 target on NQ off of our hold at 290, just like we talked about. This is your pivot here on ES. Watching to see if we get a reaction here. So this NQ 30-second opening range. Buyer trying to take in at 250, a little lackluster, but they're trying. Big absorption into 46s on ES so far, right at our pivot. You can see that buyer taking in that size down here. Very clear seller above at 49s, watching to see if we get that lower high for continuation down or what happens here. This is just us traversing through our 30-second opening range on NQ right now into our ETH low. I think Russell heads down to VWAP. That'd be my guess. This is NQ into our ETH VWAP, I think, at 220. Watching. Absorption at 250. We're watching that as our retest, 240, 250. Seeing if we'll hold this high off of a failure here. Something like this potentially. Just keeping an eye on that. Target for ES is 39s if we fail to hold here. Just watching our edge. I don't know how I feel about that. NQ is going to try to bid here, but it's a little rough still. If we can hold this area, this like 190, 210 on NQ, then potentially a bounce point back up to 320. But if this fails, it's going to be rough. Same thing with ES here at 742. Need to see a pretty good bid here. See what they can do. NQ got the buy for the IB at 25s. Target is 327s. Good reverse off of that. Buy signal, IB held, our lows held, watching as we push back up. Got to get over this 70 for more on NQ, and then we have one more leg potentially up to 320, 330. If we can get over 70s, we're in a good spot from our PVZ bounce at our lows. ES has already done the full IB move. This would be target. Watching NQ just to see if we're gonna get the follow through here. Again, we've got to get above this, and then we can go up for these highs. Then we either break out and continue, or chop here. I don't know. Good first target here into 70 though, and then we'll look to see if we can get that full rotation. Should go to at least 90 would be my assumption, but we'll see. Offer held our 70s on NQ. ES held IB high so far after hitting first target. Still holding where we need to technically, but we just want to be careful. As long as we're still maintaining this in the 5, we're good, but we did reject there. So this could potentially invalidate here very quickly with us hitting where we needed to on ES. Watching NQ lows here. Two minutes left on this 5. One minute left. New 15s, new 5s. It'll give us our validation if we're going to hold this low or not. Yes, pushing highs. New 15 is opening now. Into our value low here on NQ. ES has much more room to go if it wants to not balance and hold. Watching Russell into VWAP for bounce point on both. This is our IB25 here off of our failure at our mid, and to get back in above our 75. So we got our bounce at our mid, failed to get above the 75%, rotated, and now we're back down to our 25s here. ES came into our highs, rejected, coming back down to our mid. See what they do. I would assume we find some sort of bid here and do something like this with Russell and TV up. That'd be my assumption. I don't know if it's going to be tradable, but that's what we're looking at. We'll see. Big sell side here at 47 to 49 on ES for a potential lower high. This is your first risk off if you're playing off of this low. We watch to see if sell side's going to put in a lower high to defend. Watch Russell for lost momentum for another leg down potentially. Same thing with NQ into our pivot mid here. It's like 190, 210 areas where we'll watch to see if sell side wants to defend, or if we want to flip back up. Offer holding on ES where we thought so far. We want to see a strong buyer at 160 if buyers are going to do anything new. Failure to see a higher low at 160 means that this move's probably done. Testing into that now on NQ. good bid at 160, rotating up to target here into our 190, 210 area. Great first risk off. Russell at PVZ value as well as VWAP. No break of our downtrend yet, but we are getting the reaction where we wanted. Watching to see if we can get more here. This is NQ VWAP. So big test here. We're seeing some size start to step in. This is ES back to our absorption highs here at 50 to 54. Not much here until we can flip over this area, honestly. But they'll try to bid 50s on ES. That'll be our first understanding if we're going to get anything more. Full rotation here on ES from our Ivy mid back up to our highs. Russell bounce at PVZ and VWAP, always a great sign. NQ coming into POC to value of our previous candle where we thought resistance would be. Again, you should be, I don't know, 2/3 side of this trade. 160 bid was great for the higher low. Now we're watching to see if we do the full rotation back up or if we fail here. Unsure. Again, this is our POC to value of our previous candle. We need to see a very clear acceptance back above this, or this is where we will absorb and then rotate back through below 200s off of a failure here. See if we find a bid here at this 200, 210 area. We would love to see Russell make a higher low here. Not have to come all the way back down. Try to find a bid at this 30-second opening range at 40.70. That'd be sick for us. Yes, really trying to push through this absorption high. It's got to show that interest. It's leading by far, and Q and ES have quite a bit to go to get back up to those highs. Again, this is very clear absorption up here. I posted it in chat as well, so you can see what that looks like when I talk about that. You can see all that effort, but no ability to push. That's how we can usually tell when a reversal is likely or a failure, right? Especially when we start to see that sell side pressure step in. gotta get through this, or this is all this delta up here, and an inability to move, right, is pushing us back down. And we just headed back down to this buyer down here at 740. You can see what that looked like on the bubbles as well. So just rotating down into this, now coming back up into this absorption high. Need to very clearly like flip and retest for us to get out of here and feel comfy with it. Or right, we're just gonna reject here once again and then rotate down. Need to see the bid step up over that. ESPOC moving up here into our 50. Our daily POC. NQ balanced in at the 30-second opening range. Failure to get above. Failure to sustain the higher low at 200-210. Just rotating back down to our 30-second opening range low here at 165. Opening range high, opening range low. Until Russell can actually bid and hold, we're stuck here for a bit. We need to see ES above this pivot, show interest. Again, NQ just rejected exactly where we thought it would, which is this POC to value here on our 15, just pulling back down to our lows. This is our balance right now between these two participants while we wait. It's the classic get stuck in the 30-second opening range until we decide. Can ES hold and push from our POC shift, or does this go resistance and do we rotate it down again, right? Look at this structure that we have on ES. It's the old classic. Should see a buyer try here on NQ into our 30-second opening range low, but let's see what they do with it. I'm not expecting a ton yet. Just a reversion. Got a minute and 20 seconds left on this 15. Again, no change on ES. Very clear absorption up into these highs like we already talked about. Until we can pop it and hold it, it's just going to continue to be pretty rough up there. New 15s opening 10 seconds. Good hold of our lows so far. Coming back up to where we offered last here at our 210, 200. great first risk off if you're playing that as a range trade. Yes, trying to pop the highs, no ability yet. See if we can get anything here. This is our opening range mid. So we just recovered our opening range low and are pushing back up to highs. Like I said, just rotating in between here. A pretty gross trade, unless you're willing to just kind of take the profits, right? Take your points and run. No expansion potential as of yet on NQ. So you can try to hold a runner, but it is most likely going to get stopped out. There's no ability to push. Take your points, leave a break-even runner if you want, but it's a balanced trade in our 30-second opening range as of right now. Yeah, great job. That is the move. Yes, they'll look above, see if we can get some excitement here, or if they trap and then look above and fail. Big test. First real pop here on ES. RTY holding VWAP and our 30-second opening range here, pushing back up to highs. We have room in our oscillation if it wants to continue. Again, market was able to hold lows with Russell into VWAP. We're now testing our mid of our range. This is the high of our range. So we're at our mid pivot now. This should allow for a retest here on ES to let us know if we're going to be able to hold and sustain above this. NQ into high of our range here at 30-second opening range high. Great area to take off a little risk and see if we can flip above that intraday VWAP and our 40s. Right now, your offer sits 220, 240. Need to flip above that for more. You can see this is just where we absorbed last, right? So it makes sense as why we're looking at this as our target until we can show interest above. Watch Russell to see if we get that momentum continuation here from our bounce point. Held our lows, now at our mid. We're watching to see if we can do that oscillation to our highs. ES leading upside with our flip of our absorption. Tons of size was traded here into 250 on NQ. So what does an initiative buy look like on ES off of our flip? Well, you can see it on footprint over our 250, 240, 254. Again, held our lows. Look at the initiative bid that stepped up here on our delta chart. This is what I'm talking about. Flipped our absorption, immediate ability to bid and go, run with these guys trapped into lows, and the bid now actually being able to breach through the seller that was absorbing here. And again, like 90% of the moves are just waiting for Russell to find that low and validate the play. Lows held on NQ and ES. We get our full rotation into our high pivot, and ES is able to break out with Russell finding that low there. So let's see what we do here. This is our IB25, or sorry, IB75 on NQ where we rejected last. It is clearly resistance here. I think we'll need to do a bid at 40 to 50 on NQ if we're going to hold a higher low somewhere into here. And then we look to see if we can get this last leg up into IB high, something like that. That'll be, if we can hold this node edge here, that'd be solid. We just got to get back into this upper distribution, right? So far, we're rejecting it. Good bid so far. Yes, into next target here at 65s. Yeah, good job. That is a good target. Especially with Russell coming up into our oscillation high. We have POC on NQ now shifting up here at our pivot, seeing if we can build this higher low and then this higher high. It's just going to be a lot of effort, right? Trying to get back into this upper distribution that we talked about. This guy here, gotta flip it. Retesting our 30-second opening range and RTH VWAP here on NQ. We're just trying to see if we can flag it out here. While ES is able to, chill and build, and we watch to see as Russell pushes up into our pivot. Gotta wait for Russell and ES to find this low. They're the more momentum leaders. NQ, again, just rejecting our highs. Watching to see where this pullback is going to end up. The most bullish response would be here at this 217. Failure would be down to 195, which looks like what we're going to do. Just got to wait for Russell and ES to get some follow through. I hate that NQ is such a laggard lately. This is our opening range mid, so just another failure. But bidding mid, still stuck in our opening range. This is like one of the worst things to trade on it when NQ is doing this. As long as you're able to respect the fade, it's okay. But this like rotation through our opening range is where most traders, I think, get really destroyed looking for expansion before expansion actually is showing. All we're doing right now is fading below our opening range and then rotating through that structure, right? Over and over and over and over again. So until we still see like a very clear hold, it is going to continue to just be this reversion trade that rotates and rotates and rotates, right? Where we trap outside and we just continue to rotate over and over again. Again, like the key here is seeing this higher low and then stepping above this VWAP and then going and bidding. We want to see a mid hold and then we want to see a very clear bid above these highs for that continuation potential, or we are just trapped here for right now. It just is what it is. You could still be right? We're not breaking to the downside, but we will just chop here around your PT, sorry, around your entry, and you are going to feel emotionally distraught while we wait for price to decide if it wants to break down or break out, actually. So that's my take here. It's just in between our IB 75 and our IB 25 right now, with us holding our IB 50. We're waiting for ES to find this pullback after the breakout from our absorption, and we're watching to see if Russell can get this higher or low. If we can get momentum back in the market, NQ can maybe get out of this range, and that would be good for us. But NQ is not leading today, that is for sure. We're seeing some huge size being taken in on ES here into 57 to 60. They're trying to hold this low. See what they do. Russell into our oscillation high. Yes, again, big size got taken in and absorbed there, sell side, into that 60 to 57. NQ held mid, rotating back up to highs. Again, no real ability to do anything until we can flip our edge. It's still just resistance. So our 30-second opening range high and PVC value high. Need to flip this, show interest above.
Coinbase report that Cantor says Bitcoin bear market may be entering its final stretch.
Huge.
So that was from CoinDesk, citing Cantor.
So what are some ways that we can spot absorption in that low? Well, I'll show you two ways on our delta by price, but you can also see it on TradingView as well, right? With us holding that low and then transitioning through this candle and POC shifting, right? We held those lows there. But look at the bubbles on ES there. Look at this guy who got caught. Right, so we're just playing between these two participants right now, this 59 and this 64. Yeah. This is Russell into our momentum loser pivot. Gotta flip this shit. Some size being taken in here into 250. Bid trying to step up on new 15s. Come on. Get us out of here. Good bid, open above POC on NQ. Taking off a little size here on NQ as we push up. A lot of absorption into 290 to 320. Come on. Let's see what we can do. So far being taken in on those highs, you can see on footprint. Need to see Russell show some more interest here at our highs. See if we can build above this PVZ at on NQ at the 60. Yes, at this 64. Good hold so far. I'm out 2 here on NQ. I think we could rotate back down to 270 here off of a failure to establish above. Very clear absorption into these highs. Just watching to see what we do. Yes, building still looks okay. Bleeding up. rustle into our highs. See if we can breach. Highs taken on NQ, huge for us. See if we can build above 10s. If we can hold this 10 to 20, we're in really great shape for NQ expansion.
The S&P 500 turns positive, last up 0.21%.
Watching our 10 test, testing this edge. We want to see a buyer really try here, ideally. Failure to do this hold would be a rotation back down to 290 first. Testing into it now, see if they take.
The Dow Jones up 0.27%, the Nasdaq Composite flat.
Uh, 10 points so far from 10s. Unsure if we are be able to breach on this attempt, but let's hope. Retesting highs here from our bounce at 10s. You can take your first risk off now. We're up 20 points from our 10 hold. Testing highs. Big size here on ES. Up into this high at 74. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, it's not about the trading when you're doing well. It's about what happens when you start losing, right? You know that you can do it. Everyone in this Discord can do it. Everyone I've taught you everything you need
Iran's
to know
Deputy
to
Foreign
be able
Minister
to trade.
Abadi says no meeting has been held between the Iranian and American delegations in Doha.
You got to know that it's not a technical ability that you're lacking. It is an emotional response on your bad days that are keeping you from making money. You're more than capable of playing and having success. That's always been clear. You know, for all of you guys that continue to be able to like pass evals but then blow up, right? Like it's an emotional response that you guys need to manage. That's the thing that takes a really long time to get a hang of and learn, which is it's okay. You don't have to win back a loser immediately, but you do need to follow your plan and close that loser. You don't have to make up for it immediately. You don't have to chase. You can wait for your next setup. You have to trust in yourself that, you know, you will be able to make money. It's a really hard thing to do. But the more that you allow that to play out, the more that you follow through on that idea and tell yourself that, and you don't have that emotional response to chase right after a loser, the more that's going to feel normal and the less you're going to get triggered, right? And the more you're going to be able to handle when you are red on a day, and it won't be the end of the world because you know, I can do this, right? Like you just said, I can do this. I know I can do it. All I have to do is not play during garbage hours, right? Not play during garbage action, wait for my actual edge where I know that I can succeed, and not try to
Iran's Deputy Foreign
overfit.
Minister Gabadi says Iran's delegation meetings were held with Qatari and Pakistani delegations to follow up on the implementation of the Islamabad MOU, according to ISNA.
And not try to overfit my plans, my strategies, my edge on days that aren't performing or are not showing any interest to act in that way, right? That's when you guys start to really show like you got to step away, man, right? Like some days just aren't it, and that's okay, right? Not every day is going to be the greatest trading in the world, and I talk about that all the time. Like our opportunity is just not as valid during a short week. Some days we get really nice setups, right? But it's this 10 to 12 area is your golden zone for trading. After that, it gets a little gross. And if you continue to try to like force it, like you saw yesterday with me, like I just got chopped the hell up. And if you don't like chill, if you don't trade smaller size, if you don't stop out of those positions that you're losing, right? Like that's how you blow up an account without even realizing it. You gotta just trust the process, right? That's all this is about. Again, you guys have the technical skill. I've taught you literally all you need to know to make money in the market. Now it's about being confident that you can trade these technical setups and trading them when they actually apply, right? You're not trying to force those setups in markets that don't want to offer that expansion, right? Don't want to offer these trades. If they're not there, they're not there. Realize it, step away. Oh, that trade didn't work. It should have worked. It's not playing out. We're chopping, but it's not volatile, right? It's not clear that the chop is like giving us nice edges that we can fade. It's just trying to stop people out. Like that's not a market we want to be playing in. Just step away. You're not going to win. Right? Like that's literally all you need to do is just have some self-control and realize that you don't need to make up for losses the second that you lose. So it is so important that you're able to realize that like, okay, I'm not doing well right now. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to create a better plan, a larger picture. I'm going to wait for 2 to 4, right? Get through this chop, and then we can try to create an actionable plan in the afternoon. Or if you don't want to trade the afternoon, say, I'm on tilt. I lost today, but it could have been worse. I could have blown up. It sucks that my trades didn't work this morning. It sucks that I chased, but at least I still have an account, and tomorrow will be a new day, and I can make up for it then. Right? During the time period where I succeed the most. That's the important part of that. I want to be trading where I have the most potential edge, where my edge applies the most. Right? We don't want to force trades in the worst time period because we lost. We want to be forcing 0 trades. We want to be trading during the period where we understand the market the best and the conditions meet what we want. If we try to force trades in the mid or the afternoon and we're already on a losing streak, you're going to have a bad time because what your expectations are not meeting, right? What the market is giving. And when you go in with a bias like that, you're going to continue to force things because you're going to be like, oh, this should be playing. This should be playing. I'm going to over leverage now because I know that if I can get this one trade to work, I can make up for this account, right? I can make up for these losers. I'm going to over trade. I'm going to over leverage. No, same size, same everything. Stick with the process. Even at an 80% win rate, you're bound to lose multiple trades in a row, right? You have to remember that statistically. It happens. You need to be able to survive your worst days. Bad days should not turn into worse days, right? They only do that when you force it. If you can get over that, You guys will be golden, I promise you. Technical skills are not the issue. 95% of trading is just working on the fight or flight response that you have.
US Trade Representative Greer says the USMCA is shifting to rolling talks with no renewal.
Every time I log in, you hit me with the speech where it hurts. Sorry. Dude, it's like, it's a part of it. Like, you need to realize, like,
Greer says the USMCA has substantial issues to resolve.
It sucks losing accounts, but it's not the end of the
So
world.
the key to the USMCA talks is fixing US trade deficits.
It's only...
That the US is doing analysis on the US content in the USMCA trade deal.
Thankfully, with...
Reports that Fed's Walsh taps former Bank of England governor to co-chair the communications task force.
Can I speak? Is that allowed? Thankfully, with props, right, your risk is limited, and it's like the greatest thing in the world when you're learning to trade, because you, instead of blowing up, you know, your entire account, you're blowing up only your subscription that you paid to buy the eval, right? So like it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. The only problem is when you continue to do it and you don't learn from yourself, right? This is your time to be practicing and to realize your mistakes and try to improve, right? If you aren't trying to improve, if you aren't trying to fix those bad days, right, and hold yourself back from making those mistakes or continuing to, it's okay to, again, you are going to lose. It is bound to happen. Statistically, it will happen. But how much you let that affect you is in your control, right? That is the part that you need to get, like, actually hone. You've got to remember, like, losing is a part of it. Are you going to let it end you? Or is it just, you know, a misstep, right? Is it one step back, 2 steps forward, right? Or are you literally going to jump off the cliff? That is when you're in that situation, that's what you need to ask yourself. Am I going to jump off the cliff right now because I made a mistake? Or am I going to take 1 step back and then go from there and move forward, save my account, play the next day, right? Are you going to YOLO it because you fucked up once? Or are you going to come back stronger tomorrow? I know in the moment it sucks. It's very hard. I get it. But that's the only way you're going to succeed, is if you can get past this. You can have a million good days, right? But if you continue to do what you're doing and you don't allow yourself to actually succeed and you keep getting your own way, it is going to suck for a lot longer than it needs to. Yeah. Huge trade. We're watching now to see if we can absorb here at 320, 330 on NQ. I'm not sure if it's going to hold. You can see how we're building here. They're trying to hold it right now. We need to step back above 45 for this to play, or this can get a bit heavy into our highs. Same thing on ES. I have full faith in you guys. Like, again, you're passing evals, you're doing everything you need to. You just need to be patient. Everyone wants this, like, success immediately. You want to make all this money. Show that you can do it. Show that you can pass 1 account, you know, stack that 1 account, start to copy trade once you make that profit and you're able to get that first payout. Only start to scale after that, right? After you've proven that you can do it. And scale slowly so you don't blow up all at once and it's not devastating. You know, scale, copy trade 2 accounts at first and then get 2 payouts, right, on that. And then from there, scale a bit more. Show that you can do this slowly but surely. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you need to prove to yourself and show yourself that this is something that you can do as long as you get out of your own way and you allow yourself to maintain risk, right? And you don't over leverage and you don't chase on losing trades. You just need to show that, like, consistency pays. You need to prove that to yourself, because right now it's just a hypothesis, right? And it's hard to have any sort of reassurance on a hypothesis if you haven't seen it play out. You go on Twitter and you see people taking out $1 million payouts and they're over leveraging, and you're like, that could be me. Maybe one more trade and I hit that winner that goes 10,000 points, right? You got to get that out of your fucking head. Be consistent. Follow your system. Follow your rules. Do you. Do not worry about them. I promise you, you will have so much more success. But me squirrel must chase nuts. Always winter is coming. I have 3 losers in a row. I just turn it all off until next day. Yeah, man. That's the way. Find your trigger point, right? If it's 3 trades in a row where you lose and you step away and you tried and you've gone through and you're like, these are 3 setups that I thought were going to play out. They weren't revenge trades. I truly thought that that met all my criteria and it doesn't play out. Yeah, just dip. Clearly it's not your day. It's okay. Have some sort of rule in place where you can prevent yourself, right? Like, again, as soon as you get into that fight or flight response, it's already too late for most of you, right? You can't catch yourself once you're already in that emotional state where you're chasing and now you're YOLOing. You have to be able to realize that you're going to be in that spot if you continue to do what you're doing, right? That's how you blow up, is that you continue to try over and over and over and over again to make up for those losses. And you start to become irrational. You start to over leverage. You start to take trades that aren't real. You're trading noise. You're looking for more than that's been given, right? You're letting things come back onto you because you aren't happy with taking 20 points, right? And now that 20-point trade is now down 50 points because you were unwilling to take, because you wanted to make up for all of it in that one trade, right? These are the things where, like, it's too late emotionally. Like, if you need to be able to catch yourself before, and having a system like that where you have a lockout or you have a hard stop where it's like, before you even start trading in the day, you say, I am going to stop trading if I lose 3 trades in a row, right? That's my plan. I'm going to, that can be part of your plan. Or I made lots of money in the morning in the first hour. If I give back that money that I made in the first hour, I will stop trading, right? I want to stay within profits. I understand that prop firms are all about drawdown. So I want to maintain a positive correlation on my account because I do not want to go into drawdown and ruin my chances and start to eat into my buffer for no reason, right? So you set a hard lockout on your gains for the day, where if you use up your morning trades and all of that buffer is gone, you stop so that you at least stay neutral to green on the day so that you can get that payout, right? Remember, you need $150 for that payout every day. So that should be your lockout goal. If you start to fail trades, right, have that at least that as your bare minimum on the day so that you don't give that back. Because if you start to go into that 150, you're going to start going red on the day. Almost positive. How many times have you moved a stop where you could have had a 10-point stop and you knew that if it hit, you probably could have had a 50-point or 100-point stop and the trade still would have hit that stop? Where you're just kind of like, you're in that hopium phase where you move your stop down, 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 and it continues to fall, right? You're just hoping that you don't hit that loss. Just let it play, man. Like, either it hits or it doesn't. You'll be all right. Much better to take the 10-point hit than continue to drag that shit down. You can always get back in. But the longer, the more that you continue to be in that position that's losing and isn't following your plan, and you continue to drag that stop down, you continue to add size to a losing position that's going against exactly what you thought was going to happen, right? All you're doing is fucking yourself for some short-term pain. Again, you got to trust yourself. You have to have confidence in what you're doing, that you are able to do this. That's how you get out of those situations. Bit worried about this lower high here on NQ and ES. This looks like a offer to me on NQ. If we sweep below 95, I think we go down to 70. I think we're balanced right now between 295 and 310. They're trying to sweep 95s now. Let's see what they do here. Sorry, I know that rant was a bit longer, but like it's the same. It's, you guys need to know it. You got to hear it. I know it sucks having to hear it, but like the sooner you realize that, like that's the part of trading that takes a while. It's not the technical skills. I've taught you everything you need to know, and I will continue to teach you the things that you need to know to make money. But like the discipline, the emotional intelligence to be willing to accept losers, to grow, right? To do something new, to be willing to take risks, right? That's the hard part, is like the self-sabotage is what holds you back, and that takes years and years. And a lot of the time, like someone telling you doesn't really matter. You got to experience it. And that's that market tuition that people talk about that you got to pay. And it sucks that you have to do that. But you know, it's a part of it, which is, this is why like signal services are so hard, because, and it's why I'm so against them, because I think that you could be trading literally to the T, the exact same as another person, but your execution, right? The trades that you're not taking, the ones that you're not putting risk on for, right? The inability to try all of your setups and being much more selective, right? Changes your outcome. Think about like when you're trading an option service and they say, I have a 70% win rate, but you're only taking 1 out of 10 trades. Well, your win rate is going to be very different than that guy who has a 70% win rate, right? Because you're being more selective. You're not allowing the process to play out. And it's the same thing with your own trading as well. This is why back testing and forward testing is so important, because it's an over the time thing that your win rate and your success comes. But you have to be trading your setups, your playbook, and you need to have follow through. And again, you're going to lose sometimes. That's okay. But what isn't okay is over leveraging in those losers, right? You have to be consistent, and you know over time that it will play out. You will be able to compound. It is not the end of the world. There is a path to success, but I have to allow it to play. I have to trust the process. Again, I'm just watching this this guy here. This is where we thought we were going to be rejecting. So far, holding true, right into this high. No ability to sweep below 95 and sustain, though. I thought we would be coming down into this low here. So far, ES defending pretty well. Two-sided here on NQ. Watching to see if we can get this sweep now. See if they can do it on this attempt. Reoffering it at 95. We have to be careful. New 15s here in 40 seconds. But we've got 2 POCs and a high, so the odds are in our favor here that this goes down to our target with this trapped liquidity above. Just like some pretty clear absorption into 310, 320. As long as that's maintaining, I'm not like against these. as our resistance, but we have to be careful in the new 15s. New 15s opening now. Buyers 70 to 80 right now into this node here. We're gotta either flip below or bid it back above. Sandwiched right now. I just got filled there at 70 on NQ from our 95 offer. Let's see if we can get some continuation down or if that's all we get. But took off into 70 target. Watching our reoffer into our 29300, seeing if we'll hold this edge. Very mixed. But if we can hold 29300, I think that we would then come down to 250 as the next target. So really watching to see what we do here. Nice. Also, like stuff like this, these are great trades, man. Like I know you want a million points, but if you can like securely capture 20, 15 points over time with like 10 points risk, you are in such a good position to take high probability trades over and over and over again just for, you know, 20, 15 points, 10 point stop. Great win condition there. 1.5 as your minimum risk to reward. And then you just allow runners to run. See if we can get this next move down to 250. So now that this isn't just, you know, a 25 point trade, we're now at 40. There it is. 250, some absorption here into VWAP and POC. Taking off some size. I have 10 micros left here. Watching to see if we get more. Big pivot. Offer sitting at 70 to 80 probably would be my assumption, but we'll see. Something also I want to add while we're just in this trade and runners is if you blow up after taking a payout, you're not a bad trader. It happens to literally the best traders in the prop firm space. It's okay, right? You successfully used the risk, the asymmetrical risk vehicle correctly, right? You took your payout, you made money, you bought over
USVP
time,
Vance says
right?
we have had free commercial transit for the last 3 days.
You've used the vehicle correctly. Of course you don't want to blow up, but like don't tell yourself like, oh, I fucked up. Like, no, you were able to extract profits from a firm. You were able to maintain consistency enough to get a payout. You were able to do that repeatedly. You are having a positive ROI. You aren't a bad trader if that is your system that's playing out. Could you be better? Yeah, for sure, right? And that's something that you can work on. But don't be too hard on yourself. Like, yeah, if perfection is the only thing that's going to make you happy, right? Like you need to change our standards here. Again, your goal is to make money. How you go about making that money is,
USVP Vance says if Iran tries
Not
to
everyone's
rebuild their
gonna-
nuclear program, the US has options.
Not everyone's going to trade the same. Not everyone's going to follow the same systems, the same rules. All that matters is that you're able to extract money.
Vance says we can't drop bombs for the sake of dropping bombs. So we've got a video of Vance speaking. It's on the feed for those interested.
All right, I want to show why we thought that trade for the short made sense there. Other than what we already talked about. Let's go over the setup. So what do we see on... I need to turn on my music, man. Jesus. All right, I can think now. What did we see here into our highs on NQ? Well, this is what I was seeing. Right, so I was in longs, and then I started to see this lower high and this absorption into these highs here. and then our seller started to step in where our buyer was last. So that was my first sign of weakness. And then we saw this big block right here at our 300, 310, 320 area, whatever you want to call it. So this is where I started to look for that retest, right? This is this area where we were looking for that offer to hold. That's when I started to size into our position, using this as our risk, and then adding size when it actually starts to play, right? So that's this, adding on the lower offer and us stepping down. But that's because we're holding our block where we see this absorption occurring, right? And at the same time, I'm going to show what that looks like on ES. Again, I'm not playing ES, I'm playing NQ here. But with the same logic of where we're watching our pivot, this is why this matters. This is what we're seeing on ES. So we have these buyers that stepped up, failed at highs, right? And then we flipped back below, and now we're holding this as our pivot. So at the same time that NQ is holding our 300, 320 area, where we're looking to offer and hold down for this rotation back down to our 30-second opening range in VWAP here at target, which is where we are currently, by the way. We take off a little risk. We now are seeing the same absorption on ES around in the same area, right? So this is what we're looking at on ES. These buyers tried to step up. This is just a more granular view of the same thing here. And we're now holding this as offer, and we're trying to step down. So NQ and ES are both holding an absorption pivot at the same time, and we are rotating down off of that. Do you need to be trading huge size to be making money if you're playing off of pivots like this? No, right? Like I have 10 micros left, so 1 mini, and we're up $1,000, almost $1,200 here, just on this runner from this simple trade idea of waiting for absorption after trapped buyers above, and then seeing initiative sellers back to our reversion point, right? This is a system that you can easily implement for yourself. You just need to then follow, your actual rules and continue to maintain and only take these kinds of trades, right? We wait for someone to be off sides. We look for the lower high. We initiate off of that lower high when we have market confluence, and then we play down to a reversion point. Is that a repeatable strategy that you can implement into your trading? Yes, 100%, right? That's what we want. We want things to line up. We want to be able to check boxes off of a checklist, and we want to be taking trades off of it. Why do we want to do that? Well, because that's going to prevent us from taking stupid setups that's going to ruin our expectancy, right? We're going to be taking things that meet our criteria, because the more criteria, the more picky we are, the less trades we're going to be taking, and the better quality our overall trade is going to be, which is going to increase our probability over time, right? We're going to be taking setups that actually have value, have a merit to play out. This is why we always talk about looking for that trapped trader, looking for that lower high, using that lower high as our risk, and then playing it down to an area of interest where buyers were last, right? This is why we have a sequence of events that we look for, so that we don't overtrade and chop when nothing actually is there. Sequencing your tradings, right? Journaling and creating setups, having a playbook. This is all, the reason is so that you can start to prevent yourself from overtrading, right? We understand that, right? Yes? For 30-second? I change it depending on the day, because we've been at like super low volume. So for the 30-second,
On FARS news, Iran lifts export ban on petrochemical and polymer products.
on MNQ, this is also MNQ, not NQ. So my volume is 50 here on MNQ for the bubbles. On MNQ. On NQ, on the 2-minute, it's at 50 as well, because yesterday was super low volume. On my actual NQ setup, it's on, let me look. Yeah, no, it's on 50 as well. We've just been like much lower volume. I'll probably change it next week when it's not a short week. I don't know. There's not really like a golden zone. You just kind of like find like that. You can either make it so that's your trigger, right, where like it has to meet your volume threshold or you are not going to take a trade, or you can lower it and then understand that like the probability isn't as high, but because the volume and liquidity is lower than usual. But right, like it either way, it's up to you. Either you change your standards or you wait and allow your standards to maintain and become much pickier. It could be a really easy way for you to not take trades, right? As if you continue to maintain the same volume filter, no matter market conditions. It's up to you, right? You know what you're capable of doing. If I had to guess, I would say that NQ wants to hold this 260 to 75 area, and then we want to rotate down to 220. That's my guess. I mean, we'll see if that holds true. But we're just back in this this 30-second opening range garbage on NQ, which is just not fun to play. We're basically watching to see if this VWAP thing right here is going to hold offer. And honestly, I'd like to see more so like this. If we can hold this yellow box, to me, it makes sense that we potentially could rotate down to this here. Let's see what they do, but this seems viable for our last target if we can hold there. Thing is like ES is not doing the move that NQ is doing with Russell holding. But I just want to see how we're going to interact into this seller here. Because if we can hold this and fail to sustain above, then I would be like, oh, okay, let's head down. If we are able to build here and step above and actually sustain, then it's like, oh, okay, well, this is invalidated. So we'll see what they do. Something else that might be helpful for you guys. Now that we sorry, one sec. Now that we know that we have the ability to have a volume profile on each candle in TradingView, there's almost zero reason to not have those candles on just like your main candles. In my opinion, I think like it's a great way to see value shifting. So like it's fine to have like execution charts, like your 30-second, if you still feel comfortable with that. But I would try moving over towards a 3 or 15-minute for your to accent your 15-minute footprint. I want you to try it and see how you like that as a execution idea, because that's how like that's what these charts are. And this is, you can just like have a volume profile on each candle and see how we're building here. And that's how I'm coming up with this idea here with this yellow box of this like potential area of resistance, where this is our value high here. And we're looking for basically a failure into these highs and then a rotation down to these lows. And these lows are just like where all of these value areas are, right? So it's just a failure here and then a rotation down into this target is the idea. But like being able to see where most of the buying occurred per candle is kind of cool. I don't know. I think it's like structurally it makes a lot of sense. Or you can just be like, oh, this is just absolute garbage. I don't want to be trading this. All I need to do is be able to see offside participants outside of a rectangular range. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, I know where price needs to be able to go, or we're going to be going to the other side.
Negotiators are talking.
I don't know. I think that for a lot of you, it could be a really great visual tool to help you understand what's actually happening per candle instead of just looking at like these bodies. Like, oh yeah, look, I can see the volume. And these are 5-minute charts, but I think the 3-minute charts are pretty solid as well. It's up to you. I think both of these as smaller time frames look pretty solid still to give you a good understanding of what's going on. And see like where we're bidding on the open of these, where we want to be offering, right? The reason I like a 5-minute with a 15 is because that gives you 3 candles for each 15, and your last candle, right, is going to show up at the open of the new 15, so you can kind of see where most of the volume's accrued within that structure, and then you can also see like the 15-minute where like the overall is. It's just an idea. It's something that I think could help. Like I think this chart I have on NQ is super clean right now. And this is just a 3-minute with that same idea where we have 2 distributions. We have this upper distribution, right? And we have this lower distribution. And right now we're battling to get back in the upper, and we're holding the edge of the lower right now. So the idea is if we can't sustain above this, right, that we are most likely going to be looking for traps, offer, and then rotation through into this low, because this is our value edge here. So again, we're watching to see if this edge will hold, then rotate back through down to POC to value, or if we can, sustain these lows, show that an unwillingness to go further down, and then from this, then see a very clear bid and willingness to take that high for this rotation back up. And then that gives us our risk profile of like where we're actually watching for trades. We know that then these are our targets, this is our pivot, and then we watch to see if we trap liquidity outside of this balance that we create. Stuff like this where you start to set up, like pretty clear risk parameters for yourself of like, this is what I'm watching for, this is what I need to see. We look for outside liquidity outside of this value, and then we give ourselves a target based off of, where the auction took place last. Gives you like a full roadmap for how you want to be operating within this structure. Pushing down into target now on NQ. See what happens as we push into this 220, 210. Or sorry, 220, 200. There's this pivot here. This is target.
The Dow hits an intraday record high, last up 0.7%.
Pretty extraordinary bounce off of that low into target. Watching our reoffer now. I have 3 contracts left. Started with 20. Welcome to midday. Remember, it is not the same market as the first 2 hours. We are now at that mark. It is noon o'clock. Slowdown is real. Balance is real. I would like to say, though, that ES on the higher time frame looks great. Look what we did off of our weekly pathing. We were able to finally get outside of this balance that we were trading in, right? This was that 405, 410 low, right, that we kept bouncing off of, and then heading back up into this 480 high. Do you remember that from last week? That's this. So what did we do this week? Oops. We were able to tag that low, that look below and fail, right? And then get that failure here, rotation up. We then held our pivot, popped into our gap fill, right? We're able to then sustain this node. This is now the most important part, which is, can we build here above this node, above this edge? We can target all-time highs if we can do that easily. Just want to see a willingness to defend. Well, of course, like target here first into these highs, but this is not off the table if we can sustain here. This is value high of our 12-month profile. So if we can now sustain above our value high over the last 12 months of trading, it's a pretty good sign for expansion, yeah? So we'll see what happens into that retest, if we're going to get it or if we're just going to go. But I would love to see this 60 to 560 to 530 area sustain. Ideally 560, right? 560, 550 would be the biggest pullback that I'd like to see, ideally, where we're holding, you know, the half of this and not needing to do the full retest. Just come back into that edge, retest, come back up to these highs at 600. That'd be sick. But structurally, sustaining outside of value is big. Right now, ES is just chopping, right? It's created a balance block on our footprint, which is telling you that you should be fading edges rather than doing anything else until proven otherwise. We'll watch to see if we can start to build up in these highs. But as of right now, this is just a balanced profile with sell side failing to sustain outside and then fading and rotating back through. We need to see a very clear bid and hold up in these highs for us to change that idea, where we're going to continue to just kind of rotate in this balance between these two. NQ still in a bear path, right? Still holding this absorption from our highs earlier, right? These guys are clearly off sides, trapped into the reoffer. Surely we see that. So we popped, oops, wrong tool. We popped, pushed, rotated up, trapped into highs, came back down, closed at highs, rotated, now maintaining, trying to build here. So we'll see if they can sustain. So far, no ability to push over value of our previous candles. So lower high, our offer stepping
Ukraine's
down.
President Zelensky says Russia prepares new massive airstrike on Ukraine.
So we'll probably be watching 140, 160 as of right now. That looks like my guess if we can't get over this 260, 280, but we'll see. That is purely speculation. If this holds, right, and we start to see this sweep step down, I'd be looking for somewhere in here for the follow through. Especially if ES is going to fail this high, needs to get below 72s for any sort of initiation back down to 65s, or we'll continue to just maintain here up in the high of our balance right now. So let's just be patient. Again, it's midday. Market slowed down. We need to make sure that we aren't going to overtrade. And let's see what they do. I have 2 contracts left. I just got filled at 220 on another contract there on that test into the low. Just trading our range like we talked about.
Trump on Truth Social saying that Micron has... Sorry, just give us a sec to go through this. So Micron has announced $250 million investment in Trump accounts.
Hell yeah.
So Trump as well on Truth Social, just touting that Micron is a great American company.
Okay, longs on Micron. Full rotation back up to our 290, 320 area of interest. Not much here. Or sorry, not our 250 to 70. Sorry, wrong area. Just looking at our chart that I just posted. Just our pivot, seeing if we can flip above this and hold and sustain, or if this will continue to maintain. You can see that ES is just a chop fest. Nothing to talk about. NQ is giving you a balance opportunity, but again, it's lunch. I would expect that we take highs here if with that low hold. I mean, we'll see what happens, but again, this was our pathing. This is what we were looking for before. We are just rotating value. I'd expect with our lows taken there that we'll try to take these highs, but we'll see. I'm out 18 of my 20 contracts just in 2 runners, just in case we hold a lower high and then we want to go for this instead. And then maybe we play the reaction from here back up. But if we flip this, I'll stop out, no problem. And then we can play this rotation back up to 310 on a sustain and hold above. Make sense? Right, we're just inside this rotation here, this value. We know the value from our upper profile is here into this like 75-80. So we want to see a very clear flip. I just put a zone in between our 2 value areas. So again, we need to take out this high if we're gonna go up. If not, we'll trap here and then we'll look for that lower high back below 60s for continuation down. So just took out highs, good sign. Let's see if we can bid here. Really important that we now hold following our pathing, showing interest above this value here. 80 offer still maintaining. We want to see a bid ideally at like 60 and then rotation up to 290 if we're going to do something new. I would assume something like that, yeah. Let's see, we're trying to maintain now.
The US sees 10 million barrels via Hummers, sapping Iran oil leverage.
You can see the value of our previous candle here. Play around that.
So a US official here is describing the administration's view on the Strait of Hormuz.
Testing into our area of interest now. POC of previous candle here at 60. See if we can hold this 60 bid, pop, or if we'll flip back below and then offer, trapping this liquidity above. I might be too zoomed out for you guys to actually see on stream. I might need to delete these drawings. And then, so you can see what I'm talking about. There we go. Holding value of our previous candle so far. Watching to see if we flip below from our 80 test and then offer, or if we're able to sustain here and show that interest for upside like this.
So according to Al Arabiya sources, Iran requested the implementation of 5 items from the MOU before moving on to other files. So that's Iran requesting or suggesting that the MOU be implemented in phases.
We've 1 minute until new 15s. I will look for an opportunity into the new 15, like 40 seconds. Expect volatility on the open of that candle. If you're in off of 80 and then the flip, this is your first risk off as we're pushing down. I'm personally waiting for new 15s because I think that this could easily bounce and then pop. So I don't want to be positioned just in case, but great risk off here off of our 80 hold and then look below into our value from our failure to sustain here. New 15s opening now, watching to see what our reaction is into this edge. Yeah, price is balanced. Makes sense, right? Midday. Later myth. I totally believe you, man. You just gotta want it. You gotta want it so bad that you're actually gonna work through the shit that you're insecure about, right? That's the problem. Is that it takes some grief to get there. But I totally believe you're more than capable of doing it. Full faith. Just waiting to see if we bounce here at this low and can flip up, or if we'll hold 60 offer on a retest. I don't have an answer yet. Just balanced in our profile. If you're looking for sell side continuation, you want this bounce at our range low to hold a lower high, right? And then flip and rotate down. We don't want to see price above this if you're short. we want to see the offer attempting to lower, right? Lower, lower, lower for this to continue downwards. If buy side is still willing to defend here, and then we take out highs, I will look for longs over 80. For a rotation up to like 310, 320. Until then though, right, it's just balance. I wonder if this will be a better visual if I do it like this instead. That's a good size, okay. Man, I really don't mind that low there. If we can push this top, I really think that there's potential. Just got to show interest over this 60. It's a good rotation, at least. Just watching our lows here. I think that if this participant wants it, there's a lot of potential for them to try to defend. I want to see that guy either flip and go resistance or continue to maintain, and then again we'll be able to get that nice potential expansion above that. Until then, it's just chop in between, just balance. 240 to 260. Just really watching this low though. If it wasn't midday, I would be attempting it. How long do you guys want me to stay on today? Because if it's just balanced like this, I'm probably not going to stay too much longer. Are you guys okay with that? Just a 2-hour stream? Not much to talk about, right? If it's a box, I feel like we've laid out everything. There's a guy really trying down here. I just don't. I wish it was a different time of day. I don't want to what happened yesterday happen again today, where I overcommit at an edge and then I just get like chopped up or I get stopped out before we actually go. So I'm trying to hold back. Oof. Here, I'll show you what happened yesterday for those that weren't on stream. It's very clear where my edge is. This is 10 to 12. This is 12 to 2. This is 2 to 4. Do we see a pattern of where we should be avoiding trading? This is just like midday garbage. And what sucks is that my biggest losers on the day here, this was a 1 minute sweep where I was just over leveraged for NQ, $500 hits on each one of those contracts. So like just 2K gone in 1 minute of my P&L. And then I had to then work my way back into end of day. Yeah, we never went negative, but it was like a huge hit for no reason. Just over leveraged midday, being an idiot. In that choppy garbage. This is full pathing here off of our failure and rotation down. Watch our edge here. If you didn't take off risk into your last attempt, it's perfectly fine to take off risk into this attempt. 220s. I don't know if we're going to get more. We'll see. But definitely worth taking off some size here. And then we watch our edge to see what we do. Just following our pathing. I'm going to delete this now that this is fully played out. Just full balance rotation here. 220 bid happening so far. Not much to talk about yet. Let's see if we get some continuation or if they hold this low. What's the plan for the afternoon? You've got at 1 o'clock you have Trump attending an event. At 3 o'clock you have Trump speaking. I don't see any Fed stuff other than this morning. And then tomorrow you have jobless, non-farm, all that crap. I don't know if anyone's actually trading with me here, so it's it might be time to bounce. Chat's a little dead. all the lurkers. All right, I don't know if we're getting more, boys. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we watch our 220 as our pivot and see if we flip back, but I think that's the rotation, like we talked about. And we'll see. Maybe we get more if this holds. but I would assume that we're gonna just like trap down here off of a failure to look below and then step back up and then rotate, but I don't know. That was basically the only thing I was confident in, was this edge. Just seems like this will probably be some sort of look below fail kind of situation. But that's just me guessing. Let's go back to our main charts. Oops. We've got ES POC shifting. I'd like to see a retest of that before anything else. We're still just trading in a box. Russell's flat, trading between PVZ, POC, and value high. I would assume that ES needs to retest this POC shift first before we just go down. But maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think I am. We'll see. Big node there. With Russell at the lows, probably another oscillation, I would assume, unless we see something really shift here. This just looks like the move right now, just oscillation. Once that actually breaks down, we can look for the reversion trade to view up, right? If this ever doesn't just continue to oscillate. We're watching for some sort of shift down here, back down to 48s before we get a big bid. PVZ target is down at 120 if this 200, 220 holds. You can see that PVZ was our 260 where we looked for that short, for that offer. This is your target at 220, right? And now we're watching to see if we're going to hold PVZ value here as resistance off of a failure and then a step down, or if this holds and then steps up and then rotates back up. Right? If we hold this as resistance and we can then flip this 200, then we can look for PVZ value low. That is the idea. We ideally would like to see Russell break out of this chop for any sort of real move that isn't just going to be traps at the edges of our balance and then rotations back up on both ES and on NQ. We would like Russell follow through for this move to have some validity. Failure to rotate below, watching our 220 here, see if we can find a bid on the step above with Russell oscillating. Yes, still just retesting our POC. No change. Watching to see what we do as we rotate up. Good pop from 20s. See if we get any more. Hold of our lows. I'm out half here into 40 for 20 points. See if we get the full oscillation. No breakdown below 200 like we talked about. Just another fade. Midday garbage. We'll watch to see if they hold here and then rotate us down like this, or if we go full oscillation. Russell still holding lows. Watching ES here into our pivot to see if we recover or if this fails. Still on ES looking for 50-60 to potentially hold for higher or low. Yeah, for the you mean for the higher time frame? Like this idea? Yeah, for sure. This isn't like incredibly bearish yet, right? We just are retesting our edge on the higher time frame. Remember, this is our 12-month value high here at 60. So it's a pretty big deal.
Axios reporting that US tries to talk Iran out of tolls as talks resume in Doha. So this is by Barack Ravid on Axios. Says the US and Iranian negotiators are in Doha for talks focusing primarily on the Strait of Hormuz, with the Trump administration making the case that Iran stands to gain much more from a nuclear deal than it could generate from tolls in the strait. We've posted the Axios article on the feed for now for those interested. So in 10 minutes time now, at the top of the hour, we are expecting comments from Trump. He's due to be attending the Teddy Roosevelt Library event. US Trade Representative Greer says the US did not agree to renew the USMCA in its current form. It is similar to the statement we heard earlier.
Into first target here on ES, following pathing. Just watch as we push into this 62, 63. This is our edge here off of our failure. There you go. That's first target for me. Let's see if we can get the follow through. This has lots of room if it wants to run. Just watch the 60s. I gotta delete this because it's playing. It sucks, but yeah, it's what it is. You can see that trap into our zone of interest, into those highs. Russell leading down now, giving us our follow through. Let's see if NQ can do anything new or if it's just going to continue to oscillate. It needs below 200s.
A senior administration official says Trump's trade policies have already superseded many elements of the USMCA agreement.
Again, I'm at 1 here on ES. I have 1 runner left. And I'm just looking for like 3 more points down into like 60, 58 area, personally. Nothing crazy. This could technically go back down to these lows at 528, but I think that we'll try to defend this 550, 560 area. I don't know how volatile it's going to be, but I would assume we'll try to defend this edge. Let's just watch Russell on the retest of this breakdown. I think that'll be our catalyst if this holds. And then we'll just be looking for like rotation to VWAP. That'd be my assumption if we do hold. Failure would just be right back into our chop and then trapping these. NQ, no ability to push below 200s yet. It's really hard to try to initiate in our 30-second opening range. I tend to avoid it on NQ. I never
in
find
5
it
minutes
to
time
be
now at the top of the hour. Trump is due to be attending the Teddy Roosevelt Library event.
great trading. But I think if you are trying anything, you're looking for, oops, that is a big ass arrow. You're looking for ability to hold 200s and then a very clear sweep below from this for continuation down. And if you're looking for upside, right, we're just looking for 200s to maintain, and then you're looking for a bid above and then rotation up with a 10-point stop on any look over 20s. Right, like that's the flip. We're still holding and maintaining lows, trap into this so far. So I'm just going to continue to just be patient here because it's either we trap below and then bid back above 20s and then rotate up for another 40 point or 20 or 40 point trade, or we hold this edge and then we rotate down and then we look for some sort of reoffer here. Peace, man. Time for lunch? Yeah. I mean, I'm probably just going to dip out of here soon. I'm just looking to see if we're going to get this rotation again for one final thing, or if that's that. I stayed way too late yesterday. Way too late. Market's better today than it was yesterday, but it's still lunchtime. I'm not trying to do too much. Just hanging out with you guys right now, really.
IRNA report that Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister said that a communication channel is going to be established to report and discuss breaches of the Iran-US MOU. And IRNA report that Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister says that talks in Qatar have ended.
We're pushing into target now here, target 2 on ES into 60s. This is a great secondary risk off. You can try to leave a runner for the full POC shift. It's up to you though. I don't really know what we're going to do here. I think we get a little bounce and then a reoffer. I think it's perfectly fine to take off risk into this low on ES. That's what I did. But if you have the ability to hold a runner, go for it. This was just a super easy trade with the retest of our POC there as resistance. So I took it. That made sense to me. We'll see what happens here from our 80 and now in our retest into 200s like we have documented here. This is what we're watching. I am fully out on ES. I think NQ is a bit too volatile for me personally right now, but big bounce at our 180, watching our reoffer. This is potentially a pretty clear trap if we fail to sustain here. We need to see a very clear offer at our 200s just to show that I exited on ES. If you're not in the Discord, this is our trade that we just took off our reoffer. Push down into our 60s. So that's the ES trade. That made sense to me. Big bounce here. I'm not sure what we're going to do now. NQ a bit too choppy for me personally to play, but watching Russell retest our lows here, following pathing, seeing if we get back over that 220 for a 10 point stop for a bid, or if that holds and we flip below. Later, Basil. Appreciate you, man. Have a good weekend.
Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister says it has been decided in the meeting with Qatar that parts of the $6 billion in frozen funds would be used to purchase goods based on Iran's needs.
So again, this is just us retesting our 12-month POC value high here at 60. It's a big level. I don't know what we're going to do from here. I mean, again, this is an hourly candle. I would assume that we will try to defend this 50 to 60 area and then try to, go from there. But I have no clue, right? Like that was the target. I took the trade. We made money. We'll see if we hold here. If we do, incredibly bullish for the market for that rotation up to previous all-time highs, in my opinion. With, of course, the first caveat being this LVN here, right? Got to get over 600 for that to really mean anything, but that would be our test. And then, of course, we would be looking for these. So really watching to see if we can sustain here today. That would be so good for us. Again, I personally don't like trading NQ when we're chopping in our 30-second opening range, which is what we're doing right now. They did offer it and trap here, which is good. We want to see sell side now really try to sweep this lower. If they can sustain this, that looks pretty solid, actually. We'll see what they do here into the close of this candle. You can see how heavy it's getting. Buy side trying to hold. We want to see them continue to try to take in size here. And then we want to see a sweep through that. Because if this holds and then rotates back through and gets above that POC, right, like that's going to be then trapped sell side liquidity off of a failure. And then the bid will step up and rotate us. I'm just watching our footprint candle, right? So again, we're maintaining where we need to, but we're not seeing that willingness to take yet. Good hold. There's your sweep that we were just talking about. We need them to step in here aggressively. Should send us back to 150 would be my assumption if we can do this sweeper here below 180. Russell held pivot, exactly what you want to see for that continuation down potential when you have full market movement, and then we'd be heading down to VWAP. Yeah, we'll see. I'm flat. I'd closed into 58s on ES, not an NQ. Just waiting. But if you have runners, nothing looks bad yet. I would assume that we'll probably slow grind down until Russell hits VWAP for our next bounce. That's kind of what that looks like right now if we take out these lows. If lows maintain, we'll probably just head back up. So this is our plan for the midday. As you can see, very successful with our structure and what we are watching. Very clear pivots here. Our 220, 200s, our 280 to 260, right? Very clear pivots with our two balances on the day. Very clear upper distribution, failure to get back in, and now rotating our lower distribution, and very clear hold of our edge here at our 220. Why 220? Why does it matter? Well, that's the POC of that range, right? That's why we were caring about that area so much, because now we're offering and holding that 200, which is exactly what you wanted to see for this sweeper down, right? Very clear pivot. Look at that. Beautiful. And now we're retesting lows. If you're in this, congrats, great trade. This is our 30-second opening range low. I wouldn't expect us to do too much more here into midday.
So a reminder, in 5 minutes time, expecting comments from Trump. We do have a live video on the feed for those interested.
We'll see. I'd expect that these lows kind of are respected.
So currently Trump is speaking to reporters.
For right now, and we'll just kind of rotate in this, but I could be wrong. I don't know what Trump's going to say. But really nice reoffer and hold. Don't have much. I think we'll probably be looking for some sort of reoffer like this for a continuation down if it's going to do it. We'll get a bid like this. We'll watch to see if it steps. And then it'll be like a failed sustain. And then maybe we can go down. Maybe like that. Just watch as we like push into this edge high here from this candle. I could see that may be happening. Watch this edge. This is where you'd be looking. Like 180 to 190 is your risk. And see if we can get some points here for rotation down. Any ability to push over this, you want to be out. Just watching to see if we get a quick reaction here for our offer, or if we'll just rotate back through. Edge is low, edge low held, which is what we thought would happen. Now watching to see if sell side steps in. Man, we're getting some really solid reactions off these 160s, these 220s, these 180s. These levels have been really good no matter the price point today. Failure to sustain our 180, 190, rotation up. I don't know, man. I think that's the move. At least for right now. I'm not really trying to trade while Trump's talking. The only thing that I could see as a potential continuation is an ES catalyst into 62 to 64 reoffer. But other than that, I just don't know. This looks like it's probably headed back up if 180 holds back up to retest this offer. That'd be my guess. It's just a failure. Again, like this is the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying, and is that this is our 30-second opening range on ES on NQ that we're trading within. So this 160 low has been a failure point all day. This is our 30-second opening range low. Every attempt to look below it so far has failed and rotated us back up, which is why I think it's like pretty solid as a as an area of interest. And then you just watch your reoffer into that. I think I'm done. I'm not. There's not really much else to do. I like that last ES trade we got, Maldito. But I'm just watching it now for 62 to 64. I think is your only potential area for ES to reject, in my opinion. I mean, we'll see, but I don't know. I'm pretty happy with today's trading, especially for midday. Let's see what they do. Delete that. Yeah, so for ES, you want this to continue to maintain for downside, this edge. We can do that, then there's potential. Any failure there is just going to be so detrimental for short continuation, because any step up above this is just going to be another rotation of this garbage. Remember we were talking about how anything into these highs is just a fade? Well, that would then be the same thing where anything into these lows would be that rotation back through. So really important that sell side is able to show that interest here still, and then rotate us down off of this if it's going to continue downwards. And honestly, like I don't even, like maybe 50. I don't know. I mean, 60 was my target, so at this point, I'm just like, I could go either way. But that's where you want it to defend if sell side's serious. That's very clear to me. Same thing with NQ. Like very clear, 220, 200. That's our value of our previous candle. You can see them trying to absorb into it right now. What happens if we flip after trapping into this low? Well, I mean, it should be pretty telling, right? So we want to continue to see them to take in size here and then rotate us down off of it if we're going to continue further. Or again, like this is just going to be a failed sell side continuation play on ES that will then allow NQ to kind of get that pop. That's, yeah. I really like these candles on the 5. I think this is sick. I'm about 1 here into 200s from our failure to sustain below our 160, just into our range high here, just like we talked about. Nothing crazy. Again, ES bouncing our lows, just really solid bounces where we thought bounces would occur across the board here. Retesting our key level that we need to hold on ES for this to continue downwards. Same thing with NQ. Our 200, 220 on NQ, our 64 area on ES. We want to see Russell continuation down with holding of our halfway back if we're going to do more downside. If not, it's probably exhausted for right now. What? Why is that turning off the same thing with their different indicators? Am I going crazy? Attempt at 20s here on NQ. See if they can get the ad. I'm out 1 into 35 from 20 for 15. Stop sitting at 210. Looking to see if we get the full rotation or if that's it. This is my last trade regardless. Either I get stopped out at 210 or I go to 260. I don't really care at this point. We've taken off and it's trades free. Unsure what's gonna happen. It was a good day. Really solid reversion day. Very clear path, very clear levels. Yeah, I don't know. Pretty solid rotations here. This is that exact thing that we were talking about here on ES, where you don't want to see this get back into this range and start to sustain, or it'll do the full rotation back up. And then you're just watching for fades at the edges again. I want to see a pretty clear absorption here and then look back below if it's going to do it. Or again, it's just going to build and then this will be the start of a right side of V. So this is like the sell side's chance to slam this thing back down if they're going to do it, right? Trap into this, make that lower high, see some sort of like offside liquidity here, and then get below these buyers and then start to sweep. That would be fine. Worst case scenario is you're chopping here short term until we have enough people off sides that we then pop or fail and then offer. That's probably what actually happens because of the time of day. But I don't know, we'll see. I'm out of here. That's it for me. I just got stopped on my last contract. So good luck with the rest of the session. I think our levels are pretty clear. You have my charts. I think they'll be good for the rest of the day. Peace. I'll see you tomorrow.